So welcome back to the Path Podcast. This is episode 7. We have Sarah Binette here, so the special guest. So we're going to give the floor over to her, and she's going to give her insight on the health and wellness industry. So Sarah, take the floor.
Thank you so much. So a little bit of background on myself. I started in fitness in 2001 as a personal trainer, so I've been in for over 2 decades, going on 25 years now actually. And over the years, I noticed there was a big discrepancy in trainers and also the medical world. So I actually got my degree in biomedical science. It's actually a pre-med degree. And I started on a mission towards bridging the gap between fitness and medicine. If you have noticed, a lot of times fitness professionals are uneducated or have lack of experience. It's usually a stepping stone career for a lot of them, yet they're dealing with your most valuable asset, which is your health and fitness. But medical professionals who are highly educated and trained, right, they don't really get, most medical schools is very minimal, if that they get nutrition and fitness. So they are well trained in treating the illness and sicknesses that we get, but not the prevention of it. So I'm here to bridge that gap. I have a pillar system that I use to help with my clients. I also own a government contracting business, and that's food and food supply for the U.S. government. So I do state and federal contracting.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So if you could dive into that 4 pillars that you were talking about, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, sure. So it's ready, aim, fire, and align. So ready has 3 sub-pillars. That's health, hygiene, success factor, and goal theory. So for health hygiene, we go into the different pillars of lifestyle medicine, which are 6. So we really dive into each aspect of that. It's not just fitness, it's not just nutrition, it's also things like sleep hygiene, social connections. Avoidance of risky substances is kind of obvious, but there are stress resilience is another one. There are other things that play into our health that are really important. So another one is success factor, and that's looking into biomarkers. So I have 100% all my clients do biomarker testing. I will not work with someone without that, because I can give the best meal plan, nutrition, a program that fits someone's lifestyle that's on the move and traveling even. But if their biomarkers are off, the biochemical problems within them aren't being addressed, and they're going to go up uphill battle. So we want to make sure we level that playing field for them and make sure they're successful. So things like cortisol, things like thyroid, I mean, that one's a little bit more obvious, but there's other things, even hormonally, that women with testosterone usually isn't one thing that women don't think about often. So we go into that, and then the next one is goal theory. So that's a little similar to some other fitness professionals. We do goal setting, we do SMART goals, that scale, make sure that it's measurable, that it's attainable, that you can have it time bound. And then we also do a FIT principle. So it's frequency, intensity, time, and type. So once that's all packaged together, the AIM pillar is focusing more on nutrition. So I have most of my clients are international. They travel a lot. The reason I'm online now is because traditional fitness training doesn't work for people that I work with, because they can't stay in one place usually for a prolonged period of time. They're traveling all the time. One of my clients actually just reached 6 million miles for his Delta.
Wow.
I envy
just
that.
Traveling consistently just around the world.
Yeah. So
A lot of
timekeeper nutrition is flexing to the executive, the business owner, and making sure that the nutrition matches wherever they're at, whatever they need for supporting, again, their goals that we set beforehand and the biomarkers. And then the nutrient meter formula, I use that to make sure we focus on nutrient timing. We do our macronutrient ratios. Every one of those are calibrated. I'm very numbers based to make sure that people are successful. I have an app that tracks all these things. I do analytics, and I look at those to make sure that people are being successful, because a lot of fitness professionals are just, they work with someone and they kind of guess and tweak along the way. I like numbers to know for sure that we are getting results. And then the fire pillar is going to be exercise. So those sub-pillars are timekeeper workouts. So I make sure that the workouts are going to fit time constraints, but also those travel constraints, so they can focus on their business and live their life without having to worry about having a gym access all the time. And 3D theory is working in all 3 planes of motion. So I think you guys mentioned that you did CrossFit, or somebody did CrossFit.
Yeah, I did
it
a
for
little
a little
bit.
bit. Yeah.
Yeah, so again, I'm not.
You can make fun of them. It's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, it's okay. It was a past life. Not anymore.
It's a great workout. I mean, I do the Murph pretty much every
Oh yeah.
every year,
That was
but a lot of those programs are focused on the sagittal plane of motion only.
Yeah.
So I make sure I program my clients in all 3D planes because from having a medical background, I want to make sure that we're not having overuse injuries, that we're catering to joint mobility, and we're in not just the sagittal, but we're in the frontal and transverse planes as well. And the line is the last pillar, and that is a little more unique. It's more about mindset. So the reason that we fall off our goals for fitness, for nutrition, for health in general, isn't really even our fault most of the time. It's usually a primal reaction. So if you think about it, I'm tired, I'm hungry, I even having emotional safety, like I'm stressed out, I'm upset about something. Those are the reasons we don't eat right or we don't exercise. So if you think of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, fitness, nutrition, health usually is higher level thinking. It's not like I need shelter, I need safety. But if we can get your fitness goals on that level, for example, I've had clients who have had life-threatening things come up and they are blinders on for getting their goals because their life depends on it, right? Or they had been diagnosed with something that their father passed away from at an early age. That is real motivation. So it's not a scare tactic necessarily, but it's just making sure that we're real with ourselves about that. So those are all my pillars. It sounds a little bit more complex than what it really is because I do all the thinking and work behind it, but I make sure all my clients are set up for success that way.
Yeah, no, there's definitely a lot of important pillars and sub-pillars, what you just said. And one that struck out to me the most was the sleep hygiene, because that's always overlooked. It's been overlooked for me since I was growing up, like throughout all my years growing up, but now I'm intentional about my sleep, and I feel so much better. So I think I mentioned last time we spoke, I keep my blinds and my curtains open. I wake up to the sunrise and I get to bed at a reasonable hour. And every time I wake up, I feel refreshed. I'm never drowsy or groggy. So I can definitely see some sense in that.
Especially in the medical world, especially in the business world. I know you all interview both often. A lot of those individuals are very sleep deprived because business is a 24/7 thing. You know, I'll sleep when I die. I got to grind. If you're a founder, especially. And then medical, it's just relentless work that is grueling to the bone, and you're dealing with other people's health yet neglecting yours. And so sleep, a lot of times with those biomarkers I do with my clients, is one of the things that shows in the biomarkers. So their cortisol might be sky high. It might be slammed. There's actually 3 phases to adrenal fatigue. It's called HPA axis dysregulation. That's the medical term for it. And the first phase is when you have high lows a lot with cortisol. The second phase is when it's like, you're like on, when you're in a car, you're on speeding and you're like not changing gears, you know?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then the last phase is when your body just slams that cortisol level down and you actually test really low. So some of my clients are like, oh wow, I'm so chill, right? My cortisol's like low, right? And it's like, no, that's bad. So, sleep is so important.
Yeah, definitely.
What are some of the like, I know we just talked about sleep. What are some of the other factors that you think yourself that would probably be the most important? Like thinking about like an 80-20, like if you were to talk to someone right now, what would be the most like beneficial and most like important?
Right. So, I'm kind of torn between biomarkers and nutrition, but they kind of go together because nutrition needs to support the biomarkers. But most people generally that I work with have a general understanding of fitness. Like they've gone to the gym, they know what major muscle groups are, what exercises to work them. They can usually find their way through a gym, or they've done things that have been successful, like CrossFit, or they've done a boot camp thing, or they've done there's so many types of gyms out there.
Yeah.
I would say probably nutrition, because a lot of people don't know with all the fad diets out there what to do, first of all, and what works for them. So each one of my clients, I don't have on the same nutrition. Like one person might do intermittent fasting and another person that's not a good fit for. So it just depends on that. And not only those things, but knowing their nutrient timing. So what to eat at what time of the day does affect hypertrophy, which is muscle growth, or helping to reduce body fat, or even performance-based things. And also the calibration of those macronutrients does as well. And that stuff is very complex. And if you don't know how to manipulate that, your goals are going to probably be just okay at best.
Yeah, no, definitely.
I was gonna say, I think that's like super important, just because, especially now, everyone's trying to create like standardized plans for like their clients and their customers and that. And I really appreciate what you do, where you try to really dig in and experiment almost and see what's the best for each one of your clients. Because I feel like that's a great way, just in general, for people to act. Instead of trying to follow something just because someone else did, you kind of experiment and you try to figure out, okay, does this work for me? Does this not work for me? Because we talked about the carnivore diet, and he just couldn't, he hated it.
Yeah, no, it's
and I thought it was not too bad, but it's like one of those things where everything is so personable and personalized to where you kind of have to experiment and see exactly how it affects each one of your clients. And I feel like that's really important.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, exactly. And everybody's, again, the biomarkers, like I mentioned earlier, supporting that. Everybody's biology is going to be different on that, and their medical issues that need to be factored into that too. So, client story, I had a client who came to me after she had been on a keto diet, which it was more of a dirty keto though. So she wasn't having, it was like a high saturated fat, high cholesterol, high sodium, right, diet for a prolonged period of time. She was in her 30s and she was very fit. Like, she worked out all the time. She had a great physique too. Performance was great. Her body looked great, but she actually had coded, like she had fully clogged arteries and coded twice. And afterwards, the physician said the only thing that makes sense, because she didn't have any family history or even any conditions that would have led them to believe that was coming, from past medical history. And they said it was just from her diet. So, it just depends. If she would have done a clean keto, she probably would have been okay. I know keto is really big. It's not that I'm against that. It's just you got to be very careful, because if people have different medical conditions, like I saw something the other day about red meat and how red meat is just the most amazing thing. I'm not against red meat, but I've had patients I've seen in the clinic that come in and they get flare-ups of different medical conditions because of having things like that, like red meats and sausages and things like that. So it can cause gout for some people.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, with the keto diet, so it's just, when you do like a full keto diet, it's just 0 carbs, if that's my understanding of it. That can't be like too healthy for everyone, right? Like, carbs are good. You do need complex carbs in your diet. Is that still the same? Is that the truth? Or
it's usually, it depends on who you talk. It's usually 20 grams or less is technically keto. But your body is kind of cool. If you don't have carbohydrates, because our brain functions on glycogen, your body does a process called gluconeogenesis. So it actually converts the proteins and fats into breaking it down to glycogen, so the glycogen can be used for bodily functions. And that can be rebuilt into different things too. So the interesting thing though, when people are like, low protein, don't have too much protein, your body can't use carbohydrates and fats to make proteins. So we have to eat proteins, but we don't need to have carbohydrates at all, really, because our body is smart and it can do that process. It is tough on some people in getting through that hump to go into that gluconeogenesis, but there's a lot of schools of thought on it. I've seen pros and cons, that even with fasting and helping to extend your telomeres for longevity. I've seen a lot of things on that. I think we're kind of new into studies. Nutrition studies is one of the hardest, most difficult things to study, because people are so difficult to control. There's a lot of variables, and people are, people, and we don't follow things very well. And so nutrition studies usually need to be prolonged, and to have a group of people who actually do that accurately is very difficult. So
I bet, yeah.
Yeah, no kidding.
Is there like any exciting new research that you've kind of seen recently that would be cool and very helpful to a lot of people?
That's a good question. I personally did research on the PI3K gene recently. We used Drosophila flies for it, so it's not a human study or anything, but it was ways of manipulating the gene to help to prevent things like muscular dystrophy. We use CRISPR technology that we did an overexpression of the gene. We did some fancy, I won't use the sciencey jargon too much and get you all bored or anyone who's listening, but
Appreciate that.
We probably know what it means.
we did some things to cause the gene to turn on essentially at a certain time too, so that it didn't trigger the editing that we did with the CRISPR until it was more developed. So that was kind of cool, and they did show to have more muscle growth. And the flies, you do a flight test. They were faster for climbing, and the flight was more strong. But even when we have to dissect them, it's kind of sad. We do cryo, we freeze them and we dissect them. Wow. And you grind the thorax up to get the DNA. Anyways, even the flies that had the overexpression of that PI3K gene were even more hardy. So, but it's a little scary though, because genetic research like that is difficult, because there are other downstream things that get affected. So one thing on the PI3K gene, for example, it's cell proliferation. So one thing we had to look out for is, were there tumors? Is this cancer causing? Because you might be causing muscle growth and hypertrophy, and that's a good thing, but are you causing tumors and cancer? So
like a bunch of steroids and stuff like that, when people just think about the short-term gains and not really the long-term costs.
Yeah. They've done a lot with even with steroids. A lot of bodybuilders in the 80s and 90s, heart conditions are very common, right?
Yeah.
They've had things that they combine with it now to cause the steroids to not cause as much harm to the heart. They have the what is it called? The games that they're the enhanced games. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't.
That's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, it's like juiced up for it. It's literally an Olympics for juicing. You are not any kind of PED is fine. So it's just like,
wow,
that's gotta be
that's
cool.
good. They separate that. Let's make it a little fair,
Yeah.
So that's super controversial right now.
Yeah, there is a huge steroid epidemic for for younger gym goers. I think I see it all over the internet. Like these new influencers, they just get juiced up and they get a ton of clicks and views for it, but they're not thinking about that long-term downside. So do you think the downsides to steroids kind of outweighs the upsides?
I think if this is a tough question, because I have conflicting feelings on this. So I've been in the bodybuilding world. I've never personally taken any kind of anabolic anything, but I have friends who have. Don't like that it's illegal, so that's one thing. First of all, right, putting that out there. But I know people who are under medical supervision who actually, it's more careful. So I have my personal theory is to each their own, let each person choose on that. And I think they just need to really have medical supervision for it and know the risks, because it can cause fertility, it can make you sterile, it can lower your fertility. So that's something that people need to be careful with. And it can cause heart issues as well. There's different types of steroids that you can take, and then whether the woman's taking or the man is also a difference for that. But not anabolic steroids necessarily. But when it comes to hormones, I think that that's something that needs to be talked about more. So, for example, if a woman goes through menopause or a guy's getting older and his T level is declining, I think it's perfectly fine to supplement that to get it where it needs to be. Because a lot of the patients I've seen, even at the clinic, they in their 70s, 80s, even 90s, walking around spry AF, and it's because they are on hormone therapy and their testosterone, progesterone, and estrogen is being at a level that is youthful. So they are youthful as well. So I think it's a fluid, it's a spectrum almost for that. And again, to each their own.
Yeah, sure, definitely.
Yeah, I was curious. So I know that we've kind of mentioned we just talked about the older people, but I'm curious, is your expertise in what you would recommend change from, let's say, by decades, so 20-year-olds to 30-year-olds to 40-year-olds to 50-year-olds, and kind of how does that change? And also, what advice would you give to a 20-year-old in order to help prepare themselves for the 30s, 40s, and 50s?
For longevity?
Yeah, longevity, yeah.
I definitely would treat each one differently. So the 20s and 30s, most of the clients, and again, speaking from experience, are more aesthetic goals. So I want to look a certain way, or a performance-based goal that I want to bench 225 guys every like they're most once they
I'm guilty of that.
Yeah.
Yep, 100%.
or squat PRs, all the different PRs and even athletic-based goals as well. That's how a lot of the clients I have in that age group train. And they don't think about long-term effects. So I do highly encourage, again, a lot of fitness professionals only focus so much on fitness, but they don't get into the other factors that I mentioned with the pillars and the nutrition and even the mindset and everything. But for the 20-year-olds, they really should be focused on nutrition a little bit more. So yeah, they might be exercising, they might look great, they might have their body fat where they need to be, and their muscle at where they want as well. They're PRing, they're feeling good, being athletic and all that. But their nutrition usually is not the best. So with 30s and 40s, a lot of life transitions start happening then. Careers start picking up. People usually start getting a lot busier. That's when the sleep deprivation usually starts hitting for the lifestyle medicine pillar. So I usually have to touch on that more with my clients. And 40s is when women usually start going through perimenopause, or 50s, right? So making sure that people are really checking their biomarkers consistently, because otherwise they probably are going to feel sluggish, gaining body fat. They're going to have mental acuity decline, a lot of brain fog, and that happens with the men too. Not like a menopause thing, but they do have their T levels decline over the years. So I think that a guy should seriously consider having that supplemented when they're older, because they're not going to feel as great. Their moods are not going to be as great generally. The wellness clinic, so I'm actually partnered with clinics that do the blood testing, and at the wellness clinic that I send my clients to, they do all the support for that as well. So usually when it comes to longevity, people who are older usually start caring about that a little bit more, because they start seeing and feeling the effects of age. And man, those who start in their 20s and 30s and take care of themselves through it, like they can be 40s and 50s and you're like, they look like they're like still in their 20s, they act like it, they perform like it. It's insane.
It's a goal.
Yeah, it's definitely the personal goal. So I'm 41 now, so I'm trying my best to hold on as long as I can. But
yeah, well, you don't look 41. I'll just say that for the record right now. Yeah.
But yeah, it's I've practiced and preached everything for so long. So I hope it what I'm preaching sticks for years to come. But I have some clients so if we go later than that, like 70s and 80s, who they usually are more concerned about, I want to have time and energy to spend with my grandkids, to travel, to enjoy life. I've worked so hard. And I have a couple who just went on a pilgrimage to Egypt. They're almost 80, they're in their 70s. And we got them fit for that pilgrimage, which, again, people younger would probably not have even been able to do. So yeah, it's exciting. I have another couple that I work with, and the husband, he can still do push-ups, he can still do full walking lunges. He just turned 80, and he does aerobatic. He has a World War II airplane that he does aerobatic flights. Like, he actually does all that craziness still.
Jesus.
Whoa.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Damn, what?
He's fun. Yeah.
He's living life.
Too, but I have to convince her a little bit about about working out. She's not as into it, but she knows it's good for her. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So I want to kind of pivot to like the business side. When did you start your first business?
So I was in gyms for many years. So 2008 is when I went to start my own fitness business, because I had done mobile training. So throughout the Washington, D.C. area and the suburbs of that, I was going from home to home and gym to gym. Then they had a Fitness Together gym that allowed independent trainers in, and I just learned that I could do this on my own. So I did. And that was very successful, but oh my gosh, I worked 80 plus hours a week of personal training sessions. I got overuse injuries. Like, my wrist still sometimes acts up on me from it if I'm like chopping vegetables or doing too much. But just from moving the barbell, moving weights around constantly, and that's one of not only just to support the business owners and CEOs and people who travel often, but also I was getting overuse injuries from training too much. So I had a waiting list even. So I was, my ceiling for clients was capped out, and I was getting completely beat up. So that's another reason why I transitioned my business to being an online business, which was perfect because it was right around COVID that I did that too.
Yeah, perfect timing. Nice.
Yeah, I was actually busier over COVID. Like it was
especially with a lot of people working from home.
Yeah, I'm not going to say it was a fun time at all. It's not like that, but it was like for business, it was so interesting for me because I had built something that supported that time period for everybody so much. So my business actually increased over
That's
COVID.
amazing.
Yeah. Most gyms
incredible.
Closed. Yeah.
So is that still the business that you own and operate now? That one you started in 2008?
Yes, so that one,
That's
it's called
incredible.
Imagine You Fit. So I started that, just in person, and now it's online, and I have an app that I use to work with people from all over the world, and it's connected with even my watch. So whether someone's wherever they are in the world or wherever I am in the world, I get notified even on my watch when someone completes a workout, when they log foods, when they do pretty much anything. So it's a little creepy, but it's really great accountability.
For sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That's super cool. Are you like personalizing these programs, or is it like a $30 or $60 program that someone just buys and they can just follow along like a PDF sort of thing?
So it's more of a high ticket because it's customized. So the ones that are like a PDF or you purchase in the like more low ticket purchases, those are more generic. So that fits a certain demographic. A lot of my clients are, they want their health and fitness and longevity to be supported the best possible. And so everything is customized, and you can't even, the app that I use, you can't even get it without being invited into it. So it's not something that you can even just go download. So it's essentially, so you know how The Rock has a fitness instructor that he works with for his gym workouts, right? So he literally takes his gym with him wherever he goes, and for his workouts, though, he does have someone who programs that for him. That person's not standing over him and telling him what to do, but he has that guidance. So essentially, I do that for the business owner and executive when they're traveling.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And does this app like integrate the nutrition, the biomarkers, the goals, and all that sort of stuff, or is it just kind of like the working out?
Oh, it's all of it. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, the interface that I see versus my clients is different. So I see all the, when they last logged in, I can see their workout compliance, I can see their nutrition compliance. And again, that's percentage based, and it has line graphs. So I can predict if someone's going to be successful or not based on numbers. So a client example for this is I had one client who had retired from the SBA, and she was doing a really great job. She actually reached her goal before she turned 60 to reach a certain weight. She was doing like full send ab rollouts. I mean, she was doing amazing.
Wow, good for her.
Dang.
Yeah, she was amazing. But when she retired, she started gaining some weight back, and her exercise day per week, her nutrition really hadn't changed. And most trainers would be like, you might need to go get seen by a doctor. Something must be wrong because your body's not doing what it did before with the same kind of programming. But when I looked at her analytics, her overall calorie expenditure had gone down. So getting on the train, commuting to DC, walking around DC, walking around the office, all that movement throughout the day was over a 500 calorie difference on her total caloric expenditure. So she was easily gaining a pound a week from just not moving as much. And that's a factor that, a lot of people wouldn't see without that analytics. So I love that it has that level of accountability. But again, that's why it's a high ticket thing, because it's customized, super detailed. Yeah,
it has to be, especially when you're trying to use all that data in order to kind of provide your expertise and really track them and provide that accountability. It kind of has to be a high ticket item.
Yeah, exactly. And I only work with, it's more than a handful of people, but I have a certain amount of people that I'll work with as well. So it's limited as well.
Yeah, exactly. Because as opposed to like working 80 hours a week, what you were doing at the start, you kind of have to have some more intention with the thresholds that you have in terms of like the time.
Yeah, and again, that's I don't know if you guys ever heard of concierge healthcare. It's something that's so a lot of people who are getting away from using insurance is because that's a whole other topic of discussion is medical insurance and how limiting that is. Just from working in clinics and seeing that behind the scenes is just mind blowing. But a lot of really successful individuals are actually getting away from using insurances and they're doing cash pay or they're doing more of a concierge based medical model. And that way they get the actual medical care that they want. You know, they're not feeling cut off, having double booked appointments, feeling like they're not getting seen. So it's essentially that same kind of mindset for someone's health and fitness that I do. So it's definitely that concierge mindset that you have that full support, much more detailed. I had considered doing more I certainly have the experience and knowledge for it to create like a program that someone could follow along, like a PDF.
Yeah.
But I know how organic and unique each of our biology is, and I just don't have the conscience for that. Like I can't do that because I know that what I give is not going to fully serve that person.
Yeah. And exactly too, because you also have a meal prep company that you have as well. So it's kind of, you got to balance all the different companies that you have in addition to the physical training that you do.
Yeah. And the meal prep business, it started as a, order by Monday, by midnight, you get your meals to your doorstep by Friday. Everything was made fresh and customized. Great for bodybuilders because bodybuilders is like 6 ounces of sirloin and 8 ounces of sweet potato, and it was like everything was weighed. It was a beautiful business that way, and it's not that it wasn't successful that way. It's just I noticed a lot of orders coming in asking for customization, so it shifted a little bit more to a private chef company, and then I got into federal contracting around 2021, and after doing a few of those, it's just going and focusing on multiple customers versus just having one, which is the government, is really nice. So from a business perspective and standpoint, because I know you guys preach on business a lot too, a lot of businesses have their different like pivots that they take throughout the years, and that just felt like a really smart pivot for me, not only because of just having that one customer, which is the government, and the government can serve whatever agency or department they need to for that solicitation, but I personally love it because I'm so mission oriented with, again, bridging that gap between medical and fitness, that I can go after contracts that, one of them, for example, I created a menu for the U.S. National Guard for their nutrition, for their training. So not only did we prepare the food for that, but I designed the menu, and it was some of even the soldiers were saying, we've never had things that were so fresh. It's usually from a can, it's,
yeah.
So
a bag or something. They microwave the bag,
like an MRE or something like that.
Yeah, and the chef that I had, the lead chef for that, he is from Costa Rica, and he had one of the days we had a smoked brisket that had this like Costa Rican rub on it. Like it was just like gorgeous food.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That does sound good.
So nice. I loved that pivot for my meal prep business, focusing on federal contracting. I do want to do medical and fitness contracting. I'm shifting over to that slowly. So I may be getting away from the food and food supply eventually.
Okay. Mm-hmm. But are you doing that all yourself, like the cooking of the meals and stuff?
I did in the beginning. I don't anymore. Again, that overuse injury from training, it kind of bit me a little bit, but it forced me to be out of the kitchen because I was getting like, I could feel that acting up when I was in the kitchen. So no, I hired a staff to support that, and just a really great team for when those contracts. But again, it's not just cooking and food preparation contracts. We also do supply. So we did a contract. It was for socioeconomically disadvantaged students, their free breakfast, free lunch program. So we did 1.5 million bags for them and designed them for their free breakfast, free lunch. So that was a really fun one. But again, we didn't have to prepare the food for that one. We did do the actual design on the bags and the preparation and shipment of that as well. So
nice.
That is really amazing.
Yeah, that is really cool.
Yeah.
I was going to ask, you said you wanted to transition a little bit away from this. What are you trying, can you give a little bit more color on that? Like, what do you want to transition to?
Yeah, so into fiscal year, it's around this time, so there's a lot of contracts coming out. So there's a lot of military contracts that are for gym equipment, for refurbishing gyms, for resurfacing. One of them is a silly one. I don't know if I'd go after this, but it's a roller rink. A lot of like all the fitnessy things. It's for the Air Force. Anybody who's watching this can laugh.
Oh, okay.
Like, why did the Air Force need a roller rink?
Well, yeah, why did they need a roller rink?
I grew up in a military family. It's just a little trash talking there. But yeah. So it's those fitness contracts, but it's also medical staffing. So with my medical background, I would love to be able to be a part of the mission of making our government healthier that way. So not just, again, the different pillars I have, kind of going after contracts that are that way as well. So medical staffing, gym equipment, anything really sports and fitness related. I'm so obsessed with that. So I think it would be so cool to be a part of, and I will be, because again, I've won multiple state and federal with the food and food supply already. But it will be so exciting to be a part of that mission and not just affect the local community, but affect the nation for better health and fitness. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, definitely. So would your goal be like kind of in a consulting role for the military?
That would be, there are some contracts for that. There's not as many for that because I feel like the military has within its own, right, people that they have on staff. So maybe for agencies, not just the military. So if we stepped out of the DoD and went to like the Virginia Department of Health or even the different USDA, there's different FEMA is another big one. Those ones might have more consulting positions available, but they usually hire within their own for those things. But contracting out the medical staffing, that would be really cool. So the free clinics and blood draw, things like that.
Yeah, definitely. Kind of rewinding back to when you were a physical trainer, what was the like client acquisition process like? Because I know you said you were super, super busy. How did you normally reach out, or did they just come to you? Like,
so in the beginning, any fitness professionals listening to this, you have to do what's called working the floor. So you have to go around on the gym floor and talk to people and get them to know, like, and trust you. And usually that's working out in front of people, showing people that you know what you're talking about, doing free workshops, free classes, offering free workouts to help people, again, learn to know, like, and trust you. But after that first year, I actually got an award for the highest retention for the first health club I was in. So I actually broke a record for that because the clients that I had taken on, I actually kept. I had the highest percentage of keeping my clients. But again, I feel like, and again, hopefully people who are listening to this who've had personal trainers or who maybe have been one, my process is a lot more detailed. I was a lot more focused on my clients. It wasn't just rolling through sessions and just focusing on a workout and the next hours and someone else. Like I care so much about someone's health and fitness. I think that showed through. So because of that, as far as acquisitions, people would talk and word of mouth is what caused growth. So I really didn't have to do any marketing to reach that 80. It's almost like the world marketed for me at that point. Even on, if you did a Google search for my area for in-person training, then when I was in person, I came up as the #1 trainer in the area on the search. Wow. So a lot of people hired me just because of that, and I had no control over that. That's just whatever those. I wasn't paying to be top either. Like, people can.
Wow. Yeah, you can kind of buy your way to the top.
SEOs,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Yeah, word of mouth advertising that's a game changer for us too. That's how we see most of our growth, just like people talking about it. So,
and even with that, I think that it's amazing that with pushing the quality and the value that you have and you can provide for other people, like the word of mouth just spreads itself. Like you said, it's like if you actually care and you can put in the work and you create a lot of value for people, then they're just gonna naturally spread it around, and it's amazing.
Consistently, like quality services and products. Yeah, that's game changing.
Yeah,
so.
it's amazing.
Yeah. Word of mouth was my biggest thing, and I had my clients tell me countless times. I actually liked getting people who had worked with other trainers because I knew that they would see such a difference working with me. So I'm so obsessed with people reaching their goals. Like I will get more excited than my clients when they reach their goals. Like because I know it's not just going to be, oh, I reached this certain body fat, certain muscle, certain strength, certain performance. It's not just that. It's usually a multifaceted thing. So they'll be like, I didn't tell you before, but I suffer from depression and I haven't had to worry about that as much anymore. Or I was really having a hard time sleeping. I was really stressed out. There's more sentimental things that my clients would say, like my spouse used to not look at me the way that they do now, which is like kind of hard to say out loud, right? But it's like that you're like, oh man, like this actually completely changed someone's life. And from seeing that over the years and working with thousands and thousands of clients at this point, I know that, and I get really excited about what's that story going to be for this client, because I know they're going to reach their goals, but not only that, what's going to be the extra bonus that they get to. So that's exciting.
Yeah, that's so rewarding. Yeah, definitely.
That's why I really like how you take the approach, like the almost holistic approach, because like something that we've noticed too with Path is like how you do one thing is how you do everything. Mm-hmm. So by focusing on improving their health in like any number of ways, so their nutrition, their sleep hygiene, working out, and all this sort of stuff, you can naturally see all these different areas start to improve as well, because as someone starts to see progress, they get excited, right? They get that motivation, and then they're like, oh, I can do that in other areas. Yeah. And the cool trend that I see with your story is that you're like maximizing the amount of people that you can help as much as possible. Like you're getting into government contracts to where you can hit, instead of like thousands of people, you hit like hundreds of thousands, right? And it's a really cool progression that I see.
Yeah, I've never thought about it that way, but I think that's exactly true. That I just thought, why I'm so passionate about what I do. I don't want to just stay in the local community. I want to go bigger. Mm-hmm. And it's not a business growth bigger. I want to make more. I want to earn more. I want to scale my business or whatever. I think all that stuff's important, but when you're driven by a mission behind that, all that stuff is a byproduct. So I'm obsessed with helping as many people as much as possible, because I love seeing life transformations. It is just the most beautiful thing and exciting, and seeing people even in tears about that is just, it's so cool. Yeah, our health is our most important thing, our most valuable asset. You can't trade it. You can't have any kind of lever for it, essentially, for scaling. It's just one of those things that you either take care of it or you lose it. So when people improve all the facets of what health is, not just the fitness, it's just awesome. It's very exciting.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Thank you so much. This has been amazing. We
really
it has
been a great conversation. Yeah. We loved your story. When I connected with you on LinkedIn, you were an entrepreneur, still are an entrepreneur, and you're in the health and wellness space. So that just really clicked with what our brand is all about. So we're really happy we got to set this up.
Yeah. Thank you. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Take care. Yeah. We'll talk soon.
All right, take care.